Brock and I are...
Ladysmith! Black butt!
Someone have their baby! Big baby!
Go Team Venture!
What? No plucky rejoinder this time, Joel. Nothing to come out of the barrel with, and just.
I think I spent all my energy in the last episode.
That's fair. Okay, that's fair. I was hopeful, and then it didn't happen, but that's okay. I won't hold it against you this week.
I mean, it is difficult to conjure up energy to talk about anything in this film.
I know we're coming off last week where we're all like super excited about how awesome the movie is, and then we're coming to this one. It's like. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to start off by saying, hi, welcome to Binge Buddies. Eat it, Harvey.
Oh my god, the openings of this series have been terrible. Like, the first recording session I fucked up because something happened with my internet.
Yep.
The second one, I almost fucked it up for something, like... it wasn't my internet. I think I was just talking. You're like, shut up, Matt.
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah, that tracks.
Last time we had Joel just like having his fits of laughter.
Yeah, he just cut right in. That was perfect last time.
I was waiting for so long. That intro felt like a lifetime, so I should get my piece in. But I did it,
and it worked. And this week's been going great. What do you mean? We have me, your host, as always, Brian Dressel, with me as always is. Can't even get through it. Matt Zombie Dog Agent K Dykes.
Oh, that's easy.
Yeah. I did it.
You're saying yeah, but what is it?
Yeah, what is it though, Joel? Okay, yeah.
I definitely understand this reference.
I think that's Tommy Lee Jones.
You're right. Yeah. Okay. Good.
I had a 50-50 chance. I was lucky that I remembered his name. So. Yeah.
Well, now we get a double for Joel is 2 people this week. So go Joel. We have Joel, Martin Riggs, and Roger Murtaugh DeWitt.
I was really hoping you'd just do me Will Smith's character, and
that would have been funny. Yeah. Did you know your people? Okay.
Repeat the names real quick.
Martin Riggs and Roger Murtaugh.
No, I'm not even gonna try. I don't know.
Lethal Weapon.
Yeah, Lethal Weapon.
Yeah.
I've never seen.
We should do that. We should do that.
We should do Lethal Weapon. I mean, I want to, but also fuck Mel Gibson. So it's like, we'll see.
There's still really good films.
I don't disagree. He just sucks.
Sure does.
And last but not least, we have Ryan Clarice Starling. Lutens.
Hello, Clarice. That is in Hannibal, or Silence of the Lambs, or that's it.
Specifically on this list, it's Silence of the Lambs. But yes, you are correct.
Which person's playing it? Like, you could basically say Clarice Starling as played by Jodie Foster,
or Julianne Moore.
And if it's Julianne Moore, it's Hannibal.
Well, this one is the picture is Jodie Foster, so
it's fine. We know who she is.
That would be hilarious if the picture was Julianne Moore and it said from Silence of the Lambs.
Wouldn't it be funny if the picture was Edward Norton?
Just Edward Norton?
No, get fucked on that
Somebody
piece of shit.
The ball.
Get fucked on that piece of shit. It should be William Peterson from Manhunter. Far superior film.
I'll give you that.
I'll agree it's better, but I also think Red Dragon gets way too much of a bad rap. It's not a bad movie. It's just not as good as Manhunt.
Yes.
But
this is directed by Brett Ratner.
Yeah, that part sucks. I'm not saying it's a great movie. I'm not saying it's the quality film. I'm saying it's not that bad. It gets too bad of a rap. Yeah. Yeah, no, it might be the best movie he's made. So take that for what you will. Guy really sucks.
Yeah. That is still like saying, hey, that piece of shit that I stepped in was, the best piece of shit I've ever stepped in.
Hey, we've already talked about Terminator Salvation this week. I actually like Terminator Salvation. I just knew that was an easy joke to go for Joel.
Sure was.
Wait, what about Dark Fate?
That one I don't like. I would.
Sorry, I couldn't help myself.
It's better than Salvation.
I would watch Dark Fate before I'd watch Salvation.
I would not.
I would watch Dark Fate on a loop for 24 hours before watching Salvation.
I don't know. Like,
And that's gonna do it for us here at Binge Buddies.
Now go back and listen to our
Terminator movies again. We should rehash
this
out.
Still
Fate
think
Remake
too
Part
mean to
2.
Salvation is all I'm saying.
So here's why Terminator Salvation is worse than Nightmare on Elm Street remake.
I wouldn't go that far.
Well,
I didn't feel like I needed a shower after Salvation. Like,
We've already been over this. I rated Salvation above that.
Thank you. Deserves at least that much.
You can go back and listen to the wrap up.
We can officially tell that we're in an episode where we don't want to talk about the movie as we're rehashing old times. But here we are talking about Live Free or Die Hard. Die Hard 4 came out in 2005, 2006. 2006. Wow, really?
Yeah.
I could have sworn it came out in high school.
I know
2007, according to IMDb.
Oh, was it 2007?
That's what it says on IMDb. I thought it came out when I was in high school. I guess not.
I thought
it came out the same year as Casino Royale, but that was definitely 2006. Because I remember thinking it's so weird that like Casino Royale made Bond more of a grounded character, whereas Die Hard made John McClane more like Bond. Like, it was that
Die Hard made John McClane. I don't know what they made John McClane in this thing. Like they made it like. Pause for a second. They took all of the worst qualities of John McClane, like his alcoholism, his being a shitty husband, a shitty dad, and they went, let's keep going with that. You know, all that character growth that we've been seeing for these 3 movies? Fuck it. I just want to see him at his worst. Bottom of the barrel John McClane. Let's do it. Like,
I mean, he doesn't have the alcohol.
Are we sure about this?
I don't think he's alcoholic in this one. Like, it doesn't
and I guess
seem like it.
He doesn't.
I mean, he's not.
He's not. We don't see it. They don't mention
That's
it
fair.
at all.
Yeah. Like, okay, like I need to preface, like, I need to put something across, like, because it's not going to fit in organically. I do not like this film. I don't think it's a very good film. It's not a Die Hard film. It is like a Die Hard film in name only, to be honest. The character of John McClane isn't present in the film. It's just like generic Bruce Willis cop. But one of the things, like, watching it this time, it really irritated the fuck out of me, was they were like, it was like they took elements from the first Die Hard film, like saying, oh, these are what make a Die Hard film. And it's like, all the elements they picked though were just like insequential elements. Like, oh, well, we've got to have some European bad guys in there, so let's just make these random ones European for like no fucking
French.
reason. Yeah, for no fucking reason whatsoever. Oh, and now Lucy's going by Gennaro because that was a whole big thing in the first one. Like Lucy, like, you know, Holly Gennaro. Like, no, again, makes no fucking sense.
I'm
like,
gonna go even further. They tried to bring Buddy Cop with Justin Long. Doesn't work.
Yeah, it don't work. But
No, that didn't work at all.
And then they take all these elements that they think is what makes a Die Hard film, stick it in a weird fucking blender, and then like put it in the idea of like, oh, well, the bad guys are really highly technological, and John McClane doesn't like technology, so this is going to be a really good clash. But then they don't even get the technology aspects right. Like,
oh no, the internet is fucking magic in this movie. Like, it can do anything.
This came out in 2007. There is no excuse for the sort of the illogicalness that they do. Like, no computer hacker whose computer starts screwing up or something like that fixes it just by hitting the delete button. They do Control-Alt-Delete. Everyone knows that Control-Alt-Delete. Like, not just delete. It's like, oh, it's not doing anything. Like, it really fucking irritated me. And, like, we also led to believe that these people have been typing away on their computers and they've never hit that delete button once and blown themselves up prematurely. Like, not once. I use the delete key a lot in my day-to-day job as an IT support person. Like, you know, I'm not even hacking anything.
I mean, there's a lot to complain about in this movie, and I think kind of like justifiably so. Like, but at the same time, like I want I want to enjoy it. I want to see, like, when you look, like, Joel sent us the Rotten Tomatoes score back when he watched it, and it was like 80%. Like, people liked this movie, and I think
idiots.
Well, no, hear me out. Like, it's I don't disagree, but like, look at the scores for Force Awakens. They're through the roof. It's like one of the highest reviewed Star Wars movies ever. I think this is Disney Star Wars. It's just Die Hard. It's like,
yeah,
it's back. That was it. That was the only selling point. We hadn't had a movie in 10 years. And like, look, we got more Die Hard. And I think that was the main push of why people really liked it at the time, because it's still Bruce Willis. It's still like they really played that song a lot in the trailer. That's all over the first one. Like, they really tried to make it feel like Die Hard is back. But then I agree. It doesn't feel like a Die Hard movie. It felt like they were trying to do kind of With a Vengeance to a degree, because, you know, like, they're running all over the place and they got like the buddy cop aspect, but it's also kind of one, and like, they didn't know what they were doing. They just had a bag full of Die Hard stuff and shook it out over a movie and went, this works, right? Die Hard 4. Die Hard! Yeah.
The problem is, as well, is like the character of McClane is not someone who volunteers to do anything. He's not like, yeah, put me in, boss. I'm gonna help save the day. It's like he's put in these situations where he has no other choice but to do something about it. And in this film, like, realistically, if John McClane, the actual character of John McClane, was in this film, the film is over after 30 minutes, because he hands over the hacker dude to the FBI and he goes, "See you later, guys." He doesn't stick around. He just goes, like, I brought him over to you. I'm going now. See ya.
I don't know. Like, the entirety of 2, he could have just left. And
no, because Holly's stuck on the plane.
Oh, I guess that's true. Yeah, because Holly's
so,
on
like,
the plane.
you know,
Yeah, they gave him something.
He can't get out of it because, like, he has to do something to save his wife. Like,
they don't give him the daughter aspect till over halfway through this movie. So
exactly.
Yeah.
You're right. There's always a circumstance that brings him to the point of having to be the hero in the prior movies, where this one, I'm sorry, a big part of what works about these movies is that he is a cop working at the cop level that just so happens to get rolled up into a greater conspiracy.
Yes.
And the feds are never good for him to work with. In this case, the feds are not only working with him, they're enlisting him.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Like, none of it makes sense as well. It's like that's what I'm saying. Like, he drops off the hacker guy, and then he leaves. Like, the feds don't ask him to stick around. He doesn't agree to stick around. He doesn't willingly stick around for there's no reason why he should stick around. Like, he's done his part. He's pissed off that he has to do it in the first place anyway. Like, he gets that phone call. It's like, oh god, why me? Like, why do I have to do this? Like, oh, fine, I'll go get him. I'll drop him off. Blah 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 blah. Like, there's no reason why he doesn't just drop him off and then fuck off. Like,
well, but here's the thing. And we can get into this when we talk about it, but he's starting to see the bigger conspiracy, and things are starting to go haywire in terms of the fire sale. That's when he drops him off. He wanted to talk to Cliff Curtis, which I think, you know, we talked about competent police officers. Cliff Curtis is definitely one of those guys in this movie. But you kind of get that when he drops him off, he needs to make sure, hey, am I good? Like, he's still trying to do his thing. Like, can I leave? But then the fire sale happens, and that's when Matthew starts to say, hey, this is something that's going on, and I think that's where he might have gotten intrigued, is like, what's going on? Like, he's been through this before. He knows that something is happening. I'm not trying to defend this movie. I will say, watching this movie the second time around, I used to love this movie. This movie came out when I was young. I thought it was good. I thought it was entertaining. But watching it now, I'm like, there's a lot of things that are very problematic with this movie. But it does carry it in terms of action sequences. I think that's where Matt's trying to differentiate. You don't get that in other Die Hards. This is that action set piece after action set piece after action set piece with this movie.
I would argue to a fault, but yes, I see what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, at least in the other films, like, you do kind of have that stitching together of action set pieces.
Yes.
But there's a cohesive story that, like, logically leads you from action.
And you don't get that logical story. We praise part 3 with having, you know, A to B to C to D. You don't get that with this movie. You know, and when they're knocking off all the hackers in the beginning, it's okay, let's let them go at their own demise. Whereas this one, Matthew doesn't hit the delete button right away. I'm like, all right, fuck it, let's go take a machine gun and blow them away. How is that going to look like an accident?
Yeah, within 10 seconds. And I'm sorry, what fucking sniper? Like, he's across the street from him. We're talking what? at a push 30 feet.
Yeah.
What sniper with a full length rifle and a giant scope on it cannot hit someone like a huge body standing right in front of a window from that distance?
Especially
I couldn't do it.
bullets.
Brian, are you a professional killer?
That's what I'm saying. It's a first-time sniper. Cut him some slack.
I mean, Brian played some Call of Duty. It's fine.
Yeah, I did back when this movie was coming out.
First time I was shot a rifle at the shooting range in LA. Within half an hour, I was consistently hitting a target 500 yards away.
Well, la-di-da for you. You're better than this one. Not all this can be you, Matt.
30 feet at most.
Let's watch the trailer.
Wait. This movie has one saving grace, and that is Timothy Olyphant. I'm gonna preach about this guy. I'm gonna defend it because dude was so nonchalant the entire time. Like when the girl hits him, he goes, "You good? You got it?" Like he doesn't get upset. He just looks at him like, "Are you up for this?" I have to admit, like, there are some moments with Timothy Olyphant which are really good. Like where the guy gets shot in the foot at the end is like, "You got her?" It's like, "Yeah." It's like, "You sure? You good?"
Like
I will. We'll talk after the trailer, but while I agree with you, I will still argue it's one of the worst performances he's ever had. So,
I'm not saying that. I'm this movie.
So anyhow, here's a trailer.
Hopefully this will share. No, go ahead and play the trailer. It's fine. I do have to share. This is the only Die Hard movie Kelly has seen.
I'm doing the world a favor.
So
she missed out on the other three. She sat down and watched this.
He introduced her to this one.
And the thing she walked away with is, I don't know why these guys think it's so bad. It's a fine movie.
Okay, just shut the entire network down.
No. She needs to go back and watch the other ones.
Let people experience the first time.
No idea who you're dealing with.
Matt, what are you more upset about, that or our politics in the United States right now?
That
or the shitty internet that just killed our trailer.
That is a little more personal, isn't it, Matt?
It's personal, yeah.
It's not working.
Uber.
That's all right. The commentary is great, man. Leave it alone.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's
you know,
fine. Like,
if the movie was as short as this, no notes.
You know what?
The car's on fire. That's new.
Oh, there's my favorite moment.
That's everyone's favorite moment.
You just killed a helicopter with a car.
Ran out of bullets.
Yeah, I didn't like this moment. That's silly. There's too much.
How did they survive? They both survived that.
This is another problem with this film. Like it's the sort of the Fast and Furious physics. You can get thrown into like a brick wall and you just dust yourself off. It's 18 physics. It's not Fast and Furious.
That was a cool shot.
Physics.
Yeah, it was.
That was a cool shot. I'll give it that much.
It goes back to
that was actually a practical effect as well. They did actually launch a car at them, like they had everything positioned and timed out, but it was a practical effect. So I will give them their dues on that.
I'll kill this guy and get my daughter.
It wasn't CGI, as opposed to the fucking jet, which was awful CGI.
Can jets float like a helicopter? That's something I don't know.
It depends. There are some jets that have the ability to do that. Like the Harrier is the most famous version of the Harrier.
That's a silly question to me because now I remember there is a shot when something falls through the rotor.
Yes. So it's like I think it's supposed to be based on the F-35 or something. Fuck off, Kevin Smith.
It's a basement.
There are jets that can do vertical takeoff and landing like that.
Who did Kevin Smith know that was eager to get him into this movie somehow?
I don't know. Like, I could have done.
Holy shit! It's raining. Sorry.
I was wondering about that look of disbelief for a second.
I live in LA. This doesn't happen. It's like legitimately raining.
So the fires are going to go out
good.
now, then. Yeah. So the fires are going to finally go out.
We hope. All right. So cards on the table. Full honesty. This movie put me the fuck to sleep. I don't know why it did so well of just like lulling me to sleep. But I mean, I turned this thing on at 9 o'clock, maybe 8:30. I was out probably about like the last 30 to 45 minutes, and I woke up at like 1:30 in the morning with like all my lights on and my TV still on. Like I was out. I haven't gone to bed that early in like years. This movie's just like, I got you, bro.
Was the DVD menu on repeat? Was it just the same like the thing on the DVD menu?
No, I mean it was Apple TV, so like it was just playing some other movie of mine. It's just like
because I've had that before where like I've sort of like been really tired. I've been watching a film and then it's like I'd sort of nodded off and then I've woken up and it's just the same 20 seconds of a song on repeat on the DVD menu. Just the same thing over and over again.
And like the thing is like here to Kelly's point, I don't disagree that this is an entertaining movie. The action sequences are competent. The chemistry between Bruce Willis and Justin Long, there's somebody who could like I could see that working for some people. Justin Long can be charming in his own sort of. Yeah, like he's super fucking annoying, but in sort of a charming way. So I can kind of see where people are coming from. I think trying to watch this as part of Die Hard really does it a disservice. Like watching those first 3 movies, even 2, and then jumping into this is like, this sucks. Like it's tough.
This is why my argument is always that it's not a Die Hard film. It doesn't feel like a Die Hard film. Like if you change the main character's name to something like, Joe Blogs or something, like it would be probably a more entertaining film, but because it's attached to this series and it feels so completely different. Like they shot it as a PG-13 as well.
Yeah, clearly. Yeah.
Like this is like one of those, and I remember at the time like internet like buzzer being like, oh, is it going to be a PG-13 or is it going to be an R-rated? Like, and everyone's like saying it's got to be R-rated. It's a Die Hard film. Of course it isn't. Like there was like all these like what you would say is like clickbait articles now, like basically people on message boards going, oh, I found the picture that proves it's an R-rated film, and it's like Bruce Willis with like a fire axe or something. Yeah, that proves that it's going to be an R-rated film, and it's just like. And then it was all like that's all the message boards were talking about. And then it came out as PG-13, and it just immediately I was like, okay, that's not a good sign.
Yeah, I agree with that because like when you take away that aspect of an R-rated franchise and you make it PG-13, it does something different. You lose some of that flow, and you get jerk off instead of everything else.
But every time he said jerk off, I was just like, oh, it just sounds so forced.
Yeah. But here's my thing: is I don't think that a movie being PG-13 is necessarily indicative of it being a bad film, even if the other ones have been.
I agree. I agree with that, but it's a strike against it because like I've seen the unrated special edition, like which was a bullshit marketing thing where they just overdubbed motherfucker about 3 times. It still doesn't feel like a Die Hard film.
Yeah.
It's not just the R-rated element. It's one of those things that's a strike against it, but then there's everything else is a strike against it as well.
I think it's more indicative that
ugly as well.
There's that too. But I think just on the PG-13 front, I think it's more of a sign of like not necessarily that like it's going to be a bad film, because honestly, Die Hard could be PG-13 if you basically get rid of the gushy blood parts. And I don't think it would be a bad film if you did that. It's obviously better with it because it makes it more punchy, it makes it more impactful.
Visceral as well.
Visceral, yeah. But I don't think it would be a bad film if we just dumb those things down. Whereas this movie, you make it as violent as you want, it's still a shit movie. Yeah. For me, when you see the PG-13, that's like the curse of the aughts. Like every 2000 had this like R-rated movie, they're going to turn this on PG-13. It was more of a sign that there's way too much studio interference. Like this movie does not have a clear director and writer. This thing has 30 directors, 30 writers, all sitting in a boardroom going, how can we squeeze as much money out of this as we can?
And that's drawing in the younger crowd, even though the younger crowd knows all the swear words and see all the violence. So they're just doing it anyway.
Yeah, like who's going to go see the 4th Die Hard film not having seen 1, 2, and 3? So like if you've seen 1, 2, and 3, you know all the swear words. Like the catchphrase is something they can't even say.
Which they totally could have. Like they totally could. You can get one fuck away. Like that's
fuck. You can't say motherfucker though. Like in a PG-13, it can't be sexualized. So you could say fuck off, but you can't say go fuck yourself. You can't call someone a motherfucker because it's sexualized. There's a whole whole documentary about it, which is fascinating to watch. It's called "This Film Has Not Yet Been Rated." It's
I remember this. I've seen that. I just completely forgot about it. Yeah, no, that's
And he goes into like the details of like how it can be. So like they couldn't even say motherfucker. And there's a pathetic interview with the director somewhere. I think it might be on one of the DVD special features or something, where it's honestly, it's so pathetic because he's basically saying something like, he's talking about how he wanted the gunshot to be the ucker in motherfucker. It's like, we can't actually say it, but I wanted them to be like, yeah, well, let's do something with the sound thing to make it sound like the actual ucker in motherfucker, because you can't say it in the PG-13. It's like, it sounds so pathetic, and it's so like,
but
oh my god, that is.
I hear what he was going for when I watched the scene. It doesn't work.
Yep.
No,
it's really lame, but I hear it. It's there.
That is so much.
You know what's lame though?
Rationalization
him explaining
PG-13.
it. It's lamer though when you hear him trying to explain it. Like, genuinely, it is just, if I can find that clip from I'll send it to you guys. It is genuinely, it is one of the most pathetic things I've ever seen. Like, in terms of like someone trying to defend something, it's so sad.
I mean, and as a director, this guy has like bottomed out. Like he did this. Is Len. So he did this, then he did like the Total Recall remake, and he did like the Underworld movies. And he actually did something good.
He's the king of like, let's take an R-rated thing and make it PG-13.
He was, yeah. And like the thing was, when he finally was able just to make something he was legitimately passionate about, he did a good job. Like, he did the Swamp Thing show for like DC Universe back when that was a streaming service.
That was good.
That was a good show. Like, he had capabilities to do this stuff. I'm guessing here. I honestly don't know, but I'm guessing he was a bit of a yes man, and he did. If the studio said jump, he said how high. Like, that's it. So
it does feel like that. Like the film feels very studio noted. The look of like I said it already, it looks ugly, but like what I mean by that is it's very. I think it was a mid-2000s thing, this though, but the color palette's very muted.
Ugh.
Everything's so
muted.
drab.
It's
drab and
it's a brownish, grayish kind.
Like,
video games went through the same thing.
Yeah, video games did the exact same thing.
You see the American flag, and it's like this, like it's supposed to be all patriotic because it's blistering slowly. But the red in the flag looks brown. It's just so
well, the whole shot is like this weird blue.
dull.
It was in the trailer we just saw. Like, it's like it just doesn't. The 2000s had a look to them that are really sadly coming back right now. Not in film, thank God, but like fashion and like that sort of stuff. I'm like, is this what our parents went through like in the 90s when the 70s came back? Like, you guys sure you want this? Because I'm doing that right now to like everything. Because like watching this one or going back and watching, like I mentioned, the Resident Evil movies or like really anything from the 2000s, they have this very weird color palette that's like Matt was saying, that like very like muted blues, steels, browns, just kind of all the same, like almost monochromatic blandness. And then they had this weird idea of editing of like, we're gonna do slow-mo but in fast motion, and we're gonna do these very quick cuts that kind of blend over each other, and like this sort of like acid wash, like sort of like the 80s music videos, but not quite. And it's like, this is aged like milk on a hot day. It's fucking gross. Yeah. Like it takes you out of the movie. It is not engaging at all. I'm very glad we stopped doing it.
I mean, you get that really weird editing in the opening credits sequence where everything's like flashing around, and it's like, we're gonna like quick edit this and do some like computer screen flickering shit to make it dynamic. And I can just imagine that they had a whiteboard somewhere with like, a bunch of buzzwords like dynamic and other words of that nature, but like, and they do something different with the Fox logo as well. And like, when you start getting creative and fun with your studio logo, generally it's not a good sign.
Mars Attacks. Attacks did it well. Give it Mars Attacks.
Well. Counter that.
Disagree with that.
Indiana Jones 4. Indiana Jones 4.
20th Century Fox is notorious for doing this, and they don't do it well.
No.
The Simpsons movie did it well.
Simpsons movie did it well.
That was around this time as well. I think it was like the weekend after or something.
Was it really that quick?
It was around the same time, because I remember there was like a 3-week period where I went to see midnight screenings of this film, the Simpsons movie, and I think Transformers.
That is an eclectic thing.
I think it was that. It was Simpsons and Beer Fest were my two watches.
Never mind.
I know.
That's more eclectic.
Yeah, see, I saw Simpsons and Sunshine in the same day. I remember going like, that was like a double feature for me. I went from one theater to the other. It was very.
Is that your Barbenheimer of like the mid 2000s?
Yeah, Simpsons and Sunshine.
The Sunsons.
Yeah. Oh, we're doing it again. We're not talking about Die Hard. Get back to Die Hard.
Let's dive in.
Let's dive in.
Die Hard-ish.
Yeah, 30 minutes into the episode. Let's dive in. We'll get through as much as we can. We're really kind of taking some heavy shots at it as much as we can. But there are some cool things.
I've been very mean on it. There are some good elements in it. I think
they brought in parkour guy. I love seeing parkour guy. Like, it's dumb. It's very dumb, but I love seeing parkour guy.
It was very like sort of mid-2000s though. Like they did it in Casino Royale. They did it in this. They did it.
District B13 had that guy all over it. Like,
well, that was the thing that started it, I think. But like, I cannot having now seen the American Office, I can't see
parkour.
I just picture Steve Carell going parkour.
But that was a time where the YouTube video trends of parkour were really hot.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah,
yeah.
And
So
this
that
was one of
made
the main
sense to
guys who got made it popular. So getting him in the movie was a big deal. Like, it was, and that was kind of fun. But like then you get the sequences of them breaking Justin Long out of his apartment, and you have the people, the one dude hanging on the side of the truck, and then this guy who's on the fence that got pinned to the front of the truck. The one dude gets creamed by the dumpster, and this guy gets flung into a wall. And they both just that hurt. Ow!
He landed in trash.
He bounced off the wall into
the brick wall, on his back. Like, his back is broken.
Yeah, but he does parkour, so he's okay. He learned how to talk.
He's got jelly bones. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
he would have cracked the back of his head open like a fucking egg. Like, there's no way.
Come on, we all know that the only thing that's going to take him down is an industrialized fan that he falls into. Oh wait.
And then you have the line that annoys the shit out of me. Annoyed me in the trailer that we just watched. Annoyed me when I watch it. But Bruce Willis driving and holy shit, did you see that? Yeah, I saw it. I did it. No, you didn't see it because you're driving the car. Yeah. Justin Long could have seen it because he's not busy driving the car in a crowded alleyway. You didn't see it. Shut up, Bruce Willis. You're wrong.
You saw the guy go flying off. You didn't see him bounce off the wall and land into a dumpster.
And
if you did,
totally fine.
Yeah, it's A-team physics. The guy jumps out of a fucking helicopter and dusts himself off as it explodes. Oh, yeah. It's A-team physics.
Yeah, this is the movie where John McClane believes his own hype. And I don't think it serves it well. In another universe, this movie could have been all a fever dream of his while he's in a coma and he wakes up at the end.
If this was a parody, it's hilarious. If you lean it into it being a parody, it works so much better.
To Joel's point, him and when John and Matthew are talking, he goes, "Well, how do you be that guy?" He goes, "You don't want to be that guy. Trust me." That guy. I mean, he knows he's that guy. So,
yeah.
And then I did we're just going to take this entire speech straight out of Fight Club, and we're just going to have Justin Long give it here. It's going to be great. People are going to love it. And
is that where they're crashing the system or something like that?
Yeah, he's talking all about I didn't write it down, and I was very fading in and out. But I remember my note here is, oh, this guy watched Fight Club. But he's just talking about the systems and how the people being pressed down upon. It's very just Brad Pitt in Fight Club, and then just slam into another action sequence. This movie has this almost fear of letting story happen. As soon as if we rest for more than 2 minutes, the audience will leave. We need to just keep action going at all times, for better or worse.
Yeah, and really a lot of dialogue, all it serves to do is act as a connective tissue from action scene to action scene, rather than any sincere character development. They get into it at the end, even where it's Justin Long's character spends a whopping hour around his daughter, and then somehow they pretend that there was some sort of romantic interest that never
where did that
was
come
displayed.
From? Where the hell did that come from? Because 1 minute she's telling him that he needs to fucking man up and stop being a big baby. And then, the next minute she's like, "Oh, did he ask about me?"
Well, even the most caring thing he did was agree to type in the code after he'd been shot, and then he was threatening her with the gun, right?
Yeah,
but that's not romance. That's I don't want you to kill somebody else just because I refuse to do something.
And then also, Timothy Olyphant has already just stated straight out that he's going to kill him. And so. I don't understand that as well. It's hey, I'm going to kill you all, so put the code in now or I'll kill you quicker.
But you know what? Here's a relationship that does work, though. If the Justin Long, Mary Elizabeth Weinstein, is that it? Winstead?
Winstead or something?
Winstead? Yeah, not Weinstein. Oof.
He married a Ewan.
Thank you. But so if we have like that relationship is ridiculous because it's just Justin Long went, girl, and that's supposed to be love. Timothy Oliphant and Maggie Q, that's interesting. That is a legitimate, interesting relationship because they don't put really anything to it. I think they kiss once, do they?
Yeah, they kiss when she goes off to the gas station. Thing. And that's the sort of the giveaway of, oh, they're together.
But they don't do anything else with it. It's very just like, just kind of like, you just kind of, it's subtle. Yeah, subtle is a good word for it. So that when he eventually, throws her down an elevator shaft with a car on top of her and somehow she doesn't survive, which I have issues with. She should have come back at the end of the movie just totally fine. But whatever.
The car explodes, to be fair.
Yeah.
I see nothing wrong with this. She should be fine. She wasn't like inside the car when it exploded. She was outside of it. She should be fine.
Remember what happened to Carl? Remember what happened to Carl on the top of the roof? It exploded. Yep. He came.
I'm following the rules that the movie is giving me. Anyhow,
that bit of the roof wasn't exploded though because we saw that.
Then why was he burned?
He wasn't burned.
Why was he burned?
Beaten.
Why was he burned?
How'd he get burned? How'd he get burned?
Thank you. Anyhow, so that when John McClane calls to taunt Timothy Oliphant with like, oh yeah, I killed this girl. Who was she? You get that like, oh, you motherfucker. Like now you made it personal. It's one of the only things that really works in this movie was John did not need to be there. John could have pieced out 30 minutes into the movie and it was a much better film. Or we need to bring him into it. And it takes way too long to do it. But once they do, I like how they do it. I like Timothy Oliphant. Like, you fucked with me? Well, unfortunately for you, the internet is magic and I'm going to fuck your shit up. Yeah. And it's good. It works. They do nothing with it and it falls apart. But that is well done. There's something that works.
The one bit that really works for me is the dialogue in it, where it really works, is the bit where he's telling him basically, I'm going to kidnap your daughter. And then he looks into the camera and he's looking at John, like he's actually looking into a camera, but it's shot like they're looking eye to eye. Yeah, basically like that. But he just basically goes, come on, John, make a joke. Say something funny. And it's just like, it works so well because that is then like, you get... It's up with like levels of like the chilliness of Die Hard 2, where where William Sandler's going like, we got you, and like as the plane crashes, it's there for a moment, for a fleeting moment, but then again, it's just they don't really do anything interesting with it after that point.
No,
like, and that's where like it just turns into like they talk over a radio a few times and just let's have some quippy lines here.
And that's where, like, I will go back to my original point of, like, I don't think Len is a very great director, but I don't think he's as bad as his movies are. And that sounds meaner than I want it to be, but it's like, he has glimmers of, he's got a good idea. Like, you go to the Underworld's movies, they're not perfect. There's a lot of problems in them, and I'd rather watch Resident Evil movies, but I still wish we would have gotten that crossover, because it would have been fucking cool. But there's something there. Like, he clearly has good ideas. I think he lets the studio get away too much. And this one just feels like a shitload of studio.
I don't think he's got enough of a backbone to stand up to the studio.
Sure. Yeah.
I genuinely... it kind of feels like I've heard a few things of like, different videos and stuff online of like, while the making of it, there was like studios trying to interfere a bit. And Bruce Willis was the one who was saying, no, that's, we're not going to do it like that. And he had the trump card of like, well, who are you going to get to play John McClane then? Because if he didn't want to do something, like he could just basically say, well, I'm out of here then. Like, who are you going to get to play John McClane?
Yeah.
Like without me, you don't have a film. This is not generic Bruce Willis action film. This is a John McClane film, and
yeah, I mean that's the attitude he brought to the movie he made with Kevin Smith next.
Yeah,
fuck you, I'm out.
Kevin Smith infamously dunked on him on all his podcasts about too.
But
I like Maggie Q as well. I think she's.
I do too.
Like,
yeah,
she's a really good actress she got pigeonholed for a long time as like this. Who can do kung fu,
there goes.
But she's actually able to do like. Oh, I frozen up.
You froze for a moment,
yeah. Yeah.
It happens. No, but no, you're right. She was definitely typecast for a while, and like she's good. Like she's legitimately good. And they don't give her a ton to do here. That's kind of going back to what I was saying, like the whole like the relationship.
what I like about this is you think she's the main baddie because she's
for a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, and that, but like what I love about the reveal of Thomas Gabriel is like when she's going upstairs, like she has to look upstairs to see if she's in there and be like, oh shit, I have to go bring some bad news. I think everything about when we first see her is great. Then I think she gets pigeonholed into that henchman, ass kicker in that second part.
Honestly, like the way you're phrasing it there, I wish they had just let her be the villain. Like they're never going to have John McClane go up against a woman because, fucking cowards in Hollywood. But that would have been a more interesting movie, especially with her like as the villain. Like, granted, Timothy Olyphant does the best he can for the most part. I think he really phones a lot of this in.
I can see that.
But when he has his moments, like say something funny, like he does have his moments. Whereas Maggie Q, I don't think she phoned in any of it. No. I think she brought her A game to a completely ridiculous movie that didn't deserve it, but she still did a very good job.
Yes.
And then like her death is fine, it's whatever. It comes with a good line of like it was bottom of an elevator shaft with an SUV shoved up to her ass. Like, okay, it was okay. But the rest of the movie, like, granted, I'm mostly asleep on this viewing, so give me some slack. But the rest of the movie just doesn't really work for me, clearly. Pretty much from the moment they see Kevin Smith on. First off, Kevin Smith grinds this movie to a goddamn halt. Like, the acting has already been kind of okay to bad. And then, wow, it's like, okay, never mind. This movie's great. Because holy shit, we have a weak link.
He's like, do you know what? Kevin Smith is an amazing actor when he doesn't say a fucking word. The minute he opens his mouth,
No,
I mean,
his little bits.
That's a joke, but he emotes and is expressive in his own movies when he's quiet.
His best line is when John McCaden's pleading with him at the very end on channel, on his CB radio, and he goes, "They have my daughter," and he pauses and he goes, "All right, let me see what I can do." Like that was fun. He was off screen too. Wasn't even on screen.
Yeah, that was like
because he's not overacting like he is in the rest of this thing. Yep. It's like I don't know if it's director or actor choices, but there's just I don't know. It doesn't work. It really doesn't work. The way they get there though, like it drives me up the fucking wall that a character that really doesn't like flying would even consider taking helicopter flight lessons. Like for starters, pretty sure you don't start in a helicopter. Pretty sure when you go for flight lessons, you start in a one single engine prop plane.
Yeah,
that makes sense. Yeah,
because a helicopter is a fucking hard thing to fly because it's not just like left, right, up, down. You've got fucking pitch yaw. Everything.
There's no gliding in a helicopter.
Yeah, exactly. It's a brick.
Yeah.
If the fans turn off, it's a brick. Yeah. It's just gonna go down. Like, at least if the fan on a plane, like I keep calling it a fan, if the engine goes off on a plane, you can kind of glide it in.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. As Harrison Ford has done multiple times when he keeps crashing his fucking plane. But no, I agree with that. But then the entire Kevin Smith sequence has this air of like kind of like Adam Warlock in the most recent Guardians movie of like, oh fuck, we forgot we have to put Adam Warlock on this thing. Just shove him in the seams wherever we can fit him. This had that same sort of vibe of like, I promised Kevin Smith he could be in this. And we've already filmed the fucking, they take a left turn here and they talk to Kevin Smith for 20 minutes. Like, why? What does it add to this movie? Like, nothing.
They could have done the same workmanship of propelling the story forward and not have that whatsoever.
In a 2-second conversation in a car. Like, this just did not need to happen. And it just, like I said, it grinds the movie to a halt. And then it puts a showcase on somebody who at the time was pretty high up there for nerddom fandom, which is probably why they shoved him in this movie to try to get more people to show up to it.
Especially with the Star Wars line.
The only thing I think is maybe they were thinking comedic relief. But the thing is that there's nothing funny about it.
And
nobody's able to play it as funny.
And Justin Long is supposed to be the comedic relief, and his timing can be good. It's not so great here.
Funny at the end. I'll give him that.
Yeah.
But there's a few lines. He's got a few decent lines, like the delivery. But like throughout the most thing, there's just something off about everything. The chemistry's off. The comedy is off.
Yeah.
The action sequences feel kind of off as well.
Kevin Smith is supposed to be angry, and really he just comes off as kind of whiny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like when he's doing his angry voice, like, why do you bring a carpet to my comments? And it just sounds like he needs to fart. It's like honestly, like it just there's something just like Kevin Smith can't do angry. Like honestly, like
oh yeah, he can. I'm thinking Jay and Silent Bob, the first movie, the sign on the back of the fucking car, like that.
Yeah.
He nailed the anger in that scene. It's like the
okay. In this film, he can't do angry. Like
Yeah.
it like Joel. I think Joel said it's like a tantrum. Like, it feels like he's having a tantrum, and it just doesn't work. Like
I don't think Kevin Smith is incapable of acting. Like, I actually think he can be very good. I just don't think this was the right vehicle for him.
Yeah.
At all.
No.
Like, it's just, it just didn't work. And like the rest of the movie, which put me to sleep. But like I'm trying to remember. I don't remember how he ended up on the back of the plane. I don't know how that happened. I don't remember where the plane came from, but I remember waking up for a moment like he's hugging a tail fin. Like, oh, I guess that's happened now.
But
I'm dead.
also, that is one of the more. It is it's boring.
Yeah.
How do you make a chase between a truck and a fighter jet so boring?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
What's after that too is like, he's chasing after his daughter in this truck, and they Thomas makes the plane go after the semi. But after all that is done, like you just see the car randomly pull into the airport. I'm like, what the hell just happened here? This is so convenient that they can just walk over there.
Oh yeah.
I do have a minor quibble in that scene too. They show the
Just one?
pilot. Well, I want. Shut up.
I've got more than one, Brian.
They had the fighter jet pull the ripcord. He lands on the ground, and then they just leave him here. I for sure thought to myself, he's gonna get back up and in the tussle with John McClane. It just felt like a weird loose end or a weird thing to focus on him going thud without there being something after that.
Hey, the guy's okay. Now back to the action.
Yeah.
It's a pointless. You can take that entire sequence out of the film, and there's no difference. Honestly,
I know I complain a lot about movie length. This is definitely this could have been an hour and a half.
This is a long movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's a long movie that feels long as well. Like, you know, when I was watching watching The Substance yesterday.
Yeah.
And
another long movie, but
it's a long movie. Yeah, it's 2 hours 20 minutes. I paused it at one point just to go get a drink. And I thought, I'm maybe like half an hour in. I was an hour and 10 in.
Yeah, like that good movie doesn't make it feel like it's that long. Like for better or worse, I ended up seeing Wicked like 3 times over the past holiday break because that's the only movie my family wanted to go see.
I'm sorry.
I don't mind the movie Wicked. I actually think it's pretty good, but like you don't feel that runtime. Like, and it is 2 hours 40. I didn't feel it any one of the 3 times. I like musicals, so maybe there's something there. But what I'm saying is, if a movie is good, you don't feel that length, and that doesn't make it like it's not a hard and fast rule. Like I said last week, I think Die Hard with a Vengeance is a great movie that I still wish ended like 10 minutes earlier. But there's nothing I would cut out. So that's just the cost of admission. You have to sit there a little bit longer. This one, there is so much you can cut out. Like just whole scenes, whole characters, just snip, go. Like for as cool as the tunnel car chase is, which is awesome. Yeah. The lights turning off, like the ramp up to it, and then it's just pure chaos. Best sequence in the movie. Absolutely incredible. The rest of the movie, that's it. Just fucking cut it there because you're not going to get any better because it tells you how great the movie can be and then never gets there again.
Yeah, the whole thing with the when they have the Capitol building blowing up, all of that shit before that that could have been gone. I was like, why am I viewing this? We already know their power. There's
no point to that whole thing. Do you know what's funny that I read? And I read that and I thought, really? They spent that long on that sequence? You know, the little ransom note with all the presidential speeches?
Yeah.
It took them 4 months to make that.
Jesus.
4 months.
So this is getting to what I think is a bigger problem with this movie, beyond just resource management. There was this whole thing. I'm not sure if you guys remember when it came out, but like every interview Bruce Willis did about this movie, he kept going on and on and on about how he's an analog cop in a digital world, and that's the whole movie is going to be about. They mentioned like 3 times in the movie too, but he kept bringing it up. So when I finally saw it, I'm like, I wonder what they're going to do with that. And what it came out to was they just don't understand technology or the internet or anything.
Yeah.
It wasn't a question of like whether or not how can John McClane interact with this technology. It was just we filmmakers don't fucking get it. So we'll just say he's analog, and everything else is just magic. And it just
They have a Nokia phone doing stuff that a smartphone of today would struggle to do. Like,
Yeah.
no fucking way. Like, going back to the technology thing, this is an excellent point to jump off of another thing that really fucked me off. These guys are super smart, right? These are super smart technology guys. We hacked into everything, but they didn't think to turn off the tracking device on the vehicle.
No.
They didn't think that, like, let's turn that off so the FBI can't track us. Like, realistically, how are they even going to get away? They're like, the jet's fueled up and ready to go. The FBI's like 2 minutes away from them. Like, the jet takes off. It's not like nothing can bring them down. There are other, like, as we've seen, there's Pointless Jet number 1 that just got blown up. We can bring in Pointless Jet number 2 as well. There'll be more of them. Like, fucking stupid. Like, it really annoyed me.
So, like, as much as
it treats the audience like an idiot. That is
yes,
the
it
thing.
does.
Like, that is the whole point of this film, and it pisses me off when films do that, because audiences are not idiots for the most part. They are actually quite intelligent, and then when you dumb stuff down, it comes across really kind of like insulting, because you look at that going, I know that can't do shit like that. Like,
it's frustrating because, like, I think that at the end of the day, and then we should probably start moving to quotes before we end up talking about this thing for too long. I think this movie it doesn't have any one glaring problem, and it unfortunately is more of a death of a thousand cuts. Like, it's just a whole bunch of little things that just couldn't withstand its own weight.
And we waited 12 years for this as well. This, like, there'd been like multiple attempts to make a Die Hard 4, like between 95 and when this actually came out. The hundreds of different scripts. Like, literally hundreds of different scripts were written. There was one idea where it was going to be in the White House or something, which I think they ended up actually taking one of those and making one of those White House films.
Like Olympus Has Fallen or White House Down, like one of those.
Yeah, one of those ones. It got changed into that. There was another one that was going to be on holiday in the Bahamas, I think, with his son. I think at one point.
That's Russia next.
Yeah, you mean Russia, the next movie?
Oh God, yeah. But like, there was a video game that came out. Like Die Hard Trilogy 2, which is a completely original story.
Oh, is that with like the mom and the kid in like the office building?
No, it was in Vegas.
Which Die Hard game am I thinking about? It was at the Cellar in the Quad Cities, and I'd play that game instead of asking girls to dance because I was too afraid to ask.
There was another
hell
one.
yeah.
Die Hard Vendetta.
That might be it. Yeah, that sounds right.
It
Yeah.
was a first-person shooter.
No, it was third person. It was definitely third person.
Okay. Maybe there is like but no, it was in Vegas, and it was basically that felt more like a Die Hard sequel than this did, because they took like McClane at his lowest, and then they kept it in line with, like, he's nearly been kicked off the force. Oh, at this point he's kicked off the force, and like it made sense, like, because I'm sorry, like, just because of like Die Hard with Vengeance, he doesn't suddenly. Like, the NYPD doesn't suddenly be like, I've always forgiven John, you can come back to work. Like, we'll forget about your alcoholism, forget about the fact that you're insubordinate and you're on suspension and all that stuff. It's fine.
Yeah. Not only is it fine, you're getting a promotion.
Yeah, like.
I mean, I guess that does feel rather corporate America, like promote him up and out, like that one.
Failing upwards.
Yeah,
he's been a lieutenant since Die Hard 2. They do call him lieutenant in Die Hard 3 as well. There's a line in Die Hard 3 where he gives him back his badge. Says, "Are you done, lieutenant?" And he throws him the badge back. So he has been a lieutenant.
That super machismo, like, you ask me to be a cop again, boss? Yeah, I am. Like,
Yeah.
Okay. We get it.
But,
we all have dicks. Anyhow.
But it just I mean, I know this is also going to be something that's most people are not going to care about. But like throughout Die Hard 1, 2, and 3, he's had the same gun, a Beretta.
Yeah.
And they give him a different gun in this one for no reason as well. Like, it just, again, it's one of those kind of like.
I honestly believe they did that to annoy you, specifically you.
Mm-hmm.
And it worked. So, good job. Way to go. All right, let's get some quotes out here. I assume we don't all have two this week. Am I wrong? Okay.
No. Like, I have so little that I'm worried that one of you guys is going to take one. That's
I'm sure.
I have less than 4.
Oh, I do want to have one mention here. All the talk of the fire sale just made me think of Arrested Development.
Oh, I was so close to playing that clip instead of the trailer.
Oh my god, it's a fire sale. I'm burning.
Yeah, I had it loaded. Like I was ready to go. It's like, like what will YouTube get less mad at me for? Like, I don't know.
Probably the trailer for the movie.
Probably the trailer. I guess we'll find out. God, I thought I'd written down quotes. I'm like, I'll go first, and then I'm like, oh shit, I wrote
Nothing.
I got mine ready.
All right, go.
All right, so they're in the Warlock's basement, and they want to track him. And so you think you can find a track where he is? And then Thomas Gabriel goes, "Detective, covering the camera with your hand does not turn off the microphone."
That's a good one.
I thought
That's
that
one
was
of mine down.
Analog cop in a digital world, man.
All right, I'm gonna do. Mine is also a Warlock scene.
Oh, God.
What? Like you a big fan of the Fett? No, I was always more of a Star Wars guy.
That is not one of mine.
All right. Go, Matt. Just go.
Oh, it's the bit at the end where Lucy's just like shot the guy in the foot, and Gabriel turns and goes, "Jesus Christ, you got her?" And the guy like sort of nods, like, "You sure?" It's a nice effort, though.
Yeah.
I was going to do the Justin Long quote right in the beginning about "Can I do anything to you?" But that one just it makes my skin crawl. Like this movie starts off on a real bad foot. We didn't really talk about that. But instead, I'm going to go for a line that I consider also pretty terrible, but I like what happens after it. And so it's when they go to kidnap McClane's daughter, and they bring her to see Timothy Oliphant. The henchman like shoves her into the room, like, where is it? This bitch is a handful, and then she just turns around and just clocks him in the face. I'm like, yeah. I like that.
I have to say,
casually shitty this movie is towards women, I like seeing her punch him in the face. That felt good. Warmed my heart.
I think that like Mary Elizabeth Winstead as Lucy McClane is probably the best bit of this film. I think.
Yep.
I think she is really good. She has this sort of like there's a few moments in it where you think you can see, yeah, that is actually John McClane's.
That's
daughter.
a McClane.
Yeah.
She feels like a real character in a movie of cartoon characters.
Yeah. And I think that's why we largely didn't talk about her, because she doesn't fit the movie. She does a good job.
It's like the bit where he gives her the radio and is like saying, just talk to him, like, and then she's like, now there are only 5 of them or whatever it is she says. And the look on his face is like, what the fuck?
That was a good moment too, actually. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
I mean,
I was even okay with the way John killed him at the end. It was like, oh wow,
like
that was kind of a little clever,
Yeah.
I mean, just to prove the point with the Mary Elizabeth Winstead is, there's that scene where she's really laying it on thick to Justin Long, and he goes, "Wow, I know that tone, but it's just weird hearing it from someone with hair."
With hair. Yeah, what's she calling, like, no, like you got to grow a pair of balls or something like that. Yeah.
She's laying it onto him, so.
She plays a McClane much better
than
Mr. Jai Courtney, who's coming up next week. I have grown to really appreciate Jai Courtney. I think he has really figured out his lane in the acting world. Unfortunately for us here at Binge Buddies, he had not figured it out at the time he made the movie we're watching next week.
Or the movie that we'd watched of him in before.
Which one?
Terminator Genesis.
Oh yeah, he hadn't figured it out yet. But when we watched The Suicide Squad, he'd figured it out. Yeah, he'd figured it out there. Now he's doing his thing. But yeah.
And then when we'd watched Suicide Squad on ATH, he'd figured it out there as well.
He had there. He's one of the best things in that movie. Like
he is, yeah.
So, and I actually think he's been doing much better now. He has for my job, I've had to see a movie he has coming out later this year. He's not in it a whole bunch, but his scenes. He's really good, and I can't say anything more than that, but he's good. So I'm glad that he's actually figured stuff out. Unfortunately, we have to go back in time.
Go to Russia to figure it out.
We got to go to A Good Day to Die Hard. This might be our Hobbs and Shaw of this one. It might be another one of Live Free and Die Hards. We don't know.
I don't think it will be Hobbs and Shaw because it's only an hour and a half long.
Yeah. Oh, thank God. It's only an hour and a half.
It's only an hour and a half long?
It's super short. Yeah.
Now this might be the best one in the series.
Well, I'm excited to get into it.
Away, Joel. Because that statement, like, violence is ready to happen.
You're ready to eat your words.
I'm just here exporting freedom, Matt.
I mean, to be fair, Joel, it's physically an hour and a half long, but mentally it will feel like 3 hours.
Okay.
I guess we'll find out next week as we wrap up the Die Hard franchise. Well, then after that, we still have a wrap up episode. Will come up, and then we're moving on. We're gonna get some Deadites up in here, and it's gonna be awesome. And I'm very, very, very excited for our next show. Die Hard's been fun until this week and next week, but we'll get through those two. We have watched worse, is where I'm going to keep coming back to. Is like these might not be great. We have seen way worse. This is not the remake of Nightmare. This is not Hobbs and Shaw.
Yeah, these are fun to talk about, though. I think like there's a difference between a shit film just being shit and like you're not wanting to talk about it versus a shit film that you can have fun talking about. Like, you know, the Resident Evil films, we had so much fun recording on them. They're not great films, but they were a lot of fun to talk about. Yeah, and I think this one kind of has that same vibe, and I think next week really does too. I think next week will be a ton of fun to talk about it, even though it's a total dog shit movie. But, you know, what can you do? Let's do some plugs. That's what we can do. The show, every other show, ATH Network, athpod.com, or YouTube, where we're doing most of our stuff nowadays. ATH, we had to take a little bit of a break coming in because of all the fires in LA, and we had a lot to do, but we will be starting up again here soon. And then I don't know what's going on with Demon Days, but I'm sure John has a plan, and that will be happening as well. I don't know what it is. He doesn't tell me. That's all my plugs.
Super GG Radio is a video game podcast, indie stuff mostly. Go listen. After that is a book club with Kelly, and we're dangerously close to Dune.
Yeah, you are.
I'm also reading
DCD. Yo,
Doctors.
DCTD. Close to Dune.
I don't need more acronyms in my life. That's fine. We can stop there.
But why? You can catch me on the Front Row Network, where we are in award season, and I'm talking everything awards, especially the Substance, Go Substance. And then you can catch me on Front Row Flashbacks.
Matt, anything to plug?
Nah. This
Perfect.
film doesn't deserve plugs.
Fair.
So I get that. All right, so let's throw a big thanks to everybody for listening. It's been fun. We'll see you next week when we do Good Day to Die Hard. It's another Die Hard-ish.
I mean, he should have been fighting Klingons with a title like that.
You're not wrong. That would have been a better movie.